Hello and welcome there to Mind Intervention. Today we are having a conversation about loss and grief. It's not our first time to have it, but this is different because today we are talking about real life experiences where our interview is speaking from their heart, from their own experience. I want to mention that experiences are different, they cannot be the same, but I'm sure from hearing from one another, there's one or two things that you can learn. I also want to specify grief or loss is it can be from different things. It can be a financial loss, it can be a loss of a parent, loss of a child, loss of a sibling. But today we are focusing, our guest today is one who lost her spouse. And today she wants to share her journey, how it has been, especially regarding on how it affected her mental health. So welcome. I would like you to introduce yourself.
My name is Betty Cheriot, and I am a mother of 3.
Thank you so much, Betty. So today I wanted to talk about just a grief of losing a spouse, and especially at a young age. We're still young. When I look at you, we're still young. And in most cases, when someone gets married, you always feel you will grow old together. But then now things happen, and now you find one person has left. So I would like you to go through your story. How has it been? How was it then? When it happened, how has it been? And any challenges that you face now as now being the only person who's taking care of your children and all that. And we pray after all this, you have well helped one or two people who are going through the same thing.
Thank you very much, Maureen. Mine is a very long story. I would say we were happily married for 19 years, and we are blessed with 3 children, a girl and 2 boys. They are currently teenagers, I would say, young adults. My firstborn is 21, my secondborn is 18, and now lastborn is 15. But now when their father passed on, that was about 3 years ago. His death was as a result of a road accident, and after the road accident, he was at the ICU for 2.5 months, and that was a very difficult season for us. We had faith that he will pull through. Unfortunately, after 2.5 months in the ICU, he passed on. When this happened, of course, it was unbelievable for us because we prayed, we believed, we hoped, and we knew that he would make it. This has not been an easy journey. I think I have gone through the stages of grief. I don't know how many they are, but I have gone through these stages, and currently I am at, I think, acceptance. So when death happened, we were in denial. There is no time I imagined that my husband would pass on and leave us. I always saw us growing old together, raising our children. But maybe God had other plans. We were in denial. We were confused. Our firstborn had just cleared high school. She was about to join campus, and we did not even know now if these plans will go on, or she actually wanted to go and study abroad. Now the accident has happened, We are in the ICU. Um, then now he passes on before we make any plans. So now we started contemplating, do we now look for a university in the country? How are we even going outside the country with this loss? Yes, so that was the denial part. Um, it was very difficult. I personally couldn't believe that I've lost my husband. How? He's dead. How? I buried him. How? Yeah. So we we buried him, and when we were leaving um, our country home to come back to Nairobi now and face life without him, that moment was a very difficult moment for me. I literally felt that I went and dumped him there, and now I'm coming back alone. Anyway, we came back and now we started um, coming to terms with his absence. Although the 2.5 months had seen us stay without him for a while, but now this came with a lot of finality that he will never be with us. Yes, so we came back to Nairobi and started to navigate life. God is gracious. We continued with the plans to go abroad because my daughter told me that she will not study here because the father had already endorsed that she's going to study abroad. I thought she wanted to run away from that situation. I am convinced that was one of the reasons why she really insisted that she has to go. And because I didn't want to now cause more problems, I just wanted to give her what she wanted. Yeah, so she left, and I was left with my two boys, and we struggled with life. It wasn't easy. Just even seeing his clothes there was another nightmare. And culturally, where I come from, once someone departs, um, you are supposed to do away with his clothes in a span of 3 months. Before we get there, I had to enroll for counseling. Me and my three children. Unfortunately, after about 2 or 3 sessions, my children said they do not want to go to counseling anymore, apart from the last born who wanted to continue. But the first two, they said they can't do it anymore. So I let them be. I continued with my sessions, and at some point I also got fed up. I felt like every time I'm there, we are opening up a wound that is trying to heal. So I also stopped my sessions before I was done. But I won't tell you it was an easy journey. I just had to now navigate life on my own and just try to come to acceptance that this has happened and there's nothing I can do about it. Yes, so this has been our journey, and back to now the cultural bit where we had to give out his clothes, and now that was a very big task for me. He was buried in October 1st, and his clothes needed to be given out by December. So I always thought about it and wondered how I would navigate that part when that time comes. But now, because we were going to a country for Christmas holidays, I decided to bite the bullet and pack his clothes. I tried The first time, I wasn't able to, so I called my sister. She came and helped me to pack his clothes, and then she left. I think she didn't want to involve herself anymore. So the day came, I loaded his clothes in my car, and I drove all the way alone, me and his clothes. I reached, so my up country is in the south rift, Bomet County. So when I got to Narok, I packed, I cried properly. I think I dozed off for an hour and then continued with my journey. I left my clothes in a country home. Following day, I came back. Now waiting for the ceremony of giving out his clothes, because it comes with, you don't just give out. There's a ceremony of some sorts. So when December came, we went for Christmas. And I was told on the 24th that ceremony will happen on the 26th. I didn't want to be there. But they insisted that I have to be there. So I had Christmas at my mother's place. But now on the 26th morning, I left very early to go back to my country. I left my children. I didn't go with them because I didn't even want them to know what was going to happen that day. So I went alone, and relatives came and they asked for the clothes. I gave them out. They sat outside. I locked myself in the house. And that is how we gave out his clothes. And after that, I did not sleep there. I just drove back to my mother's place. Yes, and that was a very difficult time for me, because as I was now leaving my compound, I would see everyone with a package. His clothes. Everyone had something of his, and it pained me. Anyway, we went through that, and that has been our life. It's been a journey of confusion, especially for me, because at some point I didn't know. It's like I lost my identity. We worked as partners. We did things together. I felt like I was left in the dark. Yeah. And I find myself to date asking if this is how life was meant to be. Because when you find yourself not even accountable to anyone, you live as though there's no one around you. That is not the life that I had envisioned, and that is not the life that I grew up knowing, because I came from a very stable family where my father was the head and he lived for a long time with me. So here I find myself with children that I'm supposed to make decisions for. I have time to decide when I get home. No one is there to ask me, where are you? And this is not the life that I wanted. So it's been 3 years, and God has been gracious. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. And now that I can talk about it without shedding a tear, it means I've come along. There was a time I would even listen to a song that he loved, and I would just cry. I would maybe um, maybe someone with a cologne that he used passes near me, and I just cry. Or or um, or even a colleague who reaches out, one of the, as in his colleagues, former colleagues, people who cared to reach out. Whenever they did that, I would imagine he should have been here with them. And of course, many other things like anniversaries, birthdays. His birthdays have come in his absence. We have cut cake in his absence. Uh, it is just, it's a journey that no one should go through, though it's life. Yeah. So this is the far we have come. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Even just going through your story, you can see the stages where there was still denial. Then they start bargaining. You are still bargaining. He's not gone. He's still there. I'm imagining even when you're coming back to Nairobi, you're still thinking maybe you'll find him there.
Yes.
You were just gone. Then you come, and the idea of culture. It just reminded of how culturally, especially Africans here in Kenya, we mourn differently, and sometimes how maybe it prolongs or worsens the situation, or does it really help? So for you, you've mentioned the issue of the giving the clothes, and it's like it really touched you so much. Would it have been better if there wasn't such something cultural? I don't know, even where I come from, we have now, they might be even worse than those.
Yes.
Do you think the issue of culture in grieving our loved ones has an effect on someone's period of mourning?
I think that it has, because if you ask me, I would have preferred that I do it when I am ready. I felt like I wasn't ready to let go. Though I don't know when I would have gotten ready. So it's neither here nor there. Maybe for some people it will help, it helps to heal faster. I do not know. But for me, it was it was it was another pain. Yeah.
It was another thing. I like the idea when you say now you can talk about it without crying, because in healing grief, we say you have to go through the pain for you to come out of that pain. And the moment you find yourself being able to talk about it without you crying, it means now you're on progression. You're progressing now to healing. So it is a good job that you're able to talk about it. Of course, the heart is still there, and let me tell you, there is no period. The period is different for everyone. I was Someone was telling me, we were attending someone. Someone was saying they realized every time they went for a funeral, the grandmother used to cry, but they don't cry the dead person. She cries the children that she lost several years ago, and you see that is still grief.
Yes.
So even just for our viewers, you cannot say it's been 1 year, it's been 2 years, it's been 5 years. Yeah.
I think grief does not have a timeline. We just get used to their absence, but the heart is still there. Maybe it gets slightly better with time, because I am not like I'm not the way I was. But the heart remains, because this was a very special person to me. And I also realized that during my grief, I got very angry, and I would lash out at people. Any slightest reason to snap, I would use it effectively. Yeah, but I later realized that this is anger. I'm just angry, and I became aware of it. and now tried to avoid it. Because some people would reach out lovingly, but they would be met with,
You were prepared for them.
I was so ready for them. I was so ready for them. I even made enemies. Yes, people that I don't want to talk with them to date. So yes, that is anger. But with time, I have come to be. I am aware of it, and I have chosen to deal with it, yeah, slowly but surely.
And actually, anger is still this, part of the stages of mourning.
Yes.
So it's good that you say now you are aware, because you are going through the process.
Yes.
So
yes.
it is okay not to be okay. It's okay to be angry. But the good thing is you're saying you are aware. You are aware. Unaweza iona ikikuja hivi na unjui vile utadili nayo.
Yes. I was also angry at God after my husband's death. You know, we prayed. There is nothing we didn't do. And when he passed on, I was angry at God. After the accident, he lost his arm, his right arm. That one was the first loss that I went through. And that one
So
crashed.
even when he was in ICU, he did not have the right hand.
He didn't have his right hand. Okay. And I used to wonder, when he wakes up, what will he tell? Because he did not fully come to consciousness. He would be half conscious, half unconscious. So I used to wonder, is he aware that he lost his arm? Sometimes I would find him like he's looking for something, and I always thought he's looking for his hand. Maybe he felt something is amiss, and that was so difficult for us. But we really wanted him alive, so we decided that what is important for us is that he gets well. Then we will know how to navigate that other part. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I was so angry with God. I did not go to church for almost 6 months because I just felt that he chose not to listen to us. Until one time, a pastor came to visit us and asked my children, "Have you been to church?" And they said no. Why? They said, "Mom has not brought us." That was a wake-up call for me. And slowly we started going back. I would see people worship and wonder, what is wrong with these people? Who are they worshiping? How can you even lift your hands? You're praying, you're worshiping God. How? But I kept going. I kept going. And one day, I just told God, I am back. Yeah. I thought I would do it without you, but today I'm back. I'm not happy, but I'm back. Yeah. So I was angry at God, at people, but I guess, as we have said, it was part of the stages of grief. Yes. Now we are friends with God.
Wow, I like that. I like that because for so many people who are going through grief, actually that anger with God, and especially if it's a moment where you are a believer and you are praying for the person to be alive and then they pass on, that relationship sometimes becomes hard. But I like the way you are saying you are still in conversation. Because, the way you treat God if you had a relationship is no sense of your dad that you're like, I am not happy, but I am here. Yeah. Now, I want us to talk about the triggers. That right now, can you be somewhere whereby something will happen and it will trigger you?
Yes. In fact, something I haven't mentioned is that I hated seeing spouses together. Yeah, I feel bad. Yeah, makes me feel bad. So that's a trigger. In fact, I try to ignore before I go somewhere, I want to know the crowd that is there. If it is a couple's thing, I will avoid it. Yeah. Another trigger is is when I visit his family. So I just feel lost. In fact, I ask myself, what am I doing here? Yeah. The person who brought me here is not even there. I feel like a stranger. Yeah, yeah, that is another trigger that I have. Yeah, sometimes I get there and I feel so emotional. I also hate the model of the car he was driving that time. I see that model and especially that color, I just turn the other side. Yeah, that is also another trigger.
But the good thing is you are aware of your triggers.
Yes.
You are aware of your triggers. And I think as you go by, it will reach somewhere now, just the way you're saying now, you can talk about it without crying, whereby now you will have reached a point where it no longer triggers you. But the good thing is just to be aware. The good thing is just to be aware. Thank you so much, Betty.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you so much. I think through Betty's story, we've heard that grief is a process, and grief does not have a timeline. We have seen that grief has stages. There's a stage where you're in denial. There's a stage where you get angry. For some people, they'll go into depression. Others, they will still be there. And others will be bargaining. They are about to accept, but then no, they still go back in denial. And it doesn't really follow a straight order for different people. You find yourself going back and going forward, going back until where you reach acceptance. And where someone reaches acceptance is not really defined, because different people, mourn differently. So we have seen in the process of grief, we have triggers. You will have other things like, even as we mentioned, culture. You will have a lot of things that happen around grief, and also how they affect your surrounding and the people you live with. And now we've seen even how it affected the children and maybe the relationship with God. But healing comes in when we're able to restore a person to where they was. Maybe the question is, how does someone get there? And I think that's where now therapy really helps. I think for grief, I think you might feel like you're not making any progress, but doing therapy more and more and more, you find yourself reaching to a point where you can handle your grief. Thank you so much for today, and thank you so much to our guest.